Look, I'm not going to sugarcoat this for you. The Toronto Blue Jays are in serious trouble right now, and if you're a fan of this team, you need to understand just how bad things have gotten in the span of a few weeks. What started as one of the most promising off-seasons in recent memory has completely derailed, and we're sitting here on the eve of spring training wondering how this roster is even going to function come opening day. So here's what happened. The Blue Jays came into this winter riding high, or at least as high as you can ride after losing Game 7 of the World Series to the Dodgers. Management decided they weren't going to sit on their hands. They went out and made moves. Dylan Cease, arguably one of the best pitchers available, came to Toronto. They added bullpen depth with Tyler Rogers and Cody Ponce. They took a chance on Kazuma Okamoto. This looked like a team ready to reload and take another shot at a championship. The front office was being aggressive. The fan base was energized, and everything seemed to be pointing in the right direction. But then reality hit, and it hit hard. First, Bichette, the star shortstop who's been with this organization for years, walked away and signed with the New York Mets. That stung. That was a gut punch to the entire organization and fan base. Losing a homegrown talent like Bichette to a division rival in the same league, that's not something you just shake off. But okay, teams lose players in free agency all the time. You move on, you adapt, you find solutions. Except now the Blue Jays aren't just dealing with free agency losses, they're dealing with a full-blown injury crisis before the season even starts. And when I say crisis, I mean it. According to USA Today's Gabe Lacus, manager John Schneider dropped some absolutely devastating news on a video call just before spring training was set to begin. Anthony Santander, the right fielder they brought in on a significant contract, is going under the knife for left labral surgery. He's scheduled for the procedure on February 11th in Dallas, and the recovery timeline is 5 to 6 months. That means he's missing opening day, he's missing a huge chunk of the season, and the Blue Jays are going to have to figure out how to replace his bat in the lineup. Now, to be fair, Santander was hurt and struggling for most of last season anyway, so maybe his absence doesn't create as big a hole as it could have. But here's the thing, you still paid the guy, and you were counting on him being healthy and productive this year. That's not happening now. But wait, it gets worse. Shane Bieber, the right-hander who was supposed to be a major piece of this rotation, is dealing with forearm fatigue and won't be ready for the start of the season. Forearm fatigue for a pitcher is never something you want to hear, because that can turn into something much more serious very quickly. Nobody knows exactly when Bieber will be back or what kind of shape he'll be in when he does return. So now you've got a rotation that was already a question mark in some spots, and you're losing one of your most important arms. And it doesn't stop there. Bowden Francis, who made 14 starts for the Blue Jays last year and was expected to contribute again this season, needs Tommy John surgery. UCL reconstruction. He's done for the entire year. Gone. Not coming back. That's another arm you were counting on. Another option in the rotation. Completely wiped out. So let's just take stock of where things stand right now. You've lost Bichette to free agency. Anthony Santander is out for 5 to 6 months with shoulder surgery. Shane Bieber isn't ready for opening day and nobody knows when he will be. Bowden Francis is done for the year. And on top of all that, you've got Chris Bassett and Max Scherzer still sitting out there in free agency, unsigned, while your rotation depth is evaporating by the day. Manager John Schneider is going to have to do some serious shuffling here. The one bright spot, if you can even call it that, is Jose Barrios. The veteran is all but locked in to return to a starting role, and at this point he might be the most reliable arm they have. But you can't build a championship rotation around one guy, especially when the guys who were supposed to be supporting him are either hurt or gone. So what did the Blue Jays do in response to all this bad news? They signed Philip Omont. Now, if that name doesn't ring a bell, don't worry, you're not alone. Omont is a former Phillies prospect who pitched in the majors from 2012 to 2015. In that time, he threw a grand total of 43 2/3 innings with an ERA of 6.80. Not exactly inspiring numbers. He's been out of the game since June of 2020 when he retired to work on a farm in Quebec. That's right, a farm. The guy's been living a completely different life for the past several years. But here's the twist. Omont pitched for Team Canada in the 2023 World Baseball Classic, and he's on their roster again for the 2026 tournament. So apparently he's still got something left, or at least enough to catch the attention of the Blue Jays front office. Tyler Poitras from Phillies Tailgate confirmed the signing, and Omont's official player profile shows he's back with Toronto and set to represent Canada in the WBC. Now, is Philip Omont going to save the Blue Jays season? Absolutely not. The guy is 37 years old, hasn't pitched in the majors in over a decade, and was never that good when he did. But the fact that the Blue Jays are even bringing him in tells you everything you need to know about how desperate they are for pitching depth right now. If another arm goes down, if Bieber's forearm turns into something worse, if they need a spot starter at some point during the season, they're going to have to start reaching deep into their organizational depth. And apparently that depth now includes a retired farmer from Quebec. The upcoming World Baseball Classic is going to be crucial for the Blue Jays in terms of evaluating Omont. They'll get to see him pitch in a competitive environment against high-level talent, and that should give them a much better idea of whether he's actually got anything left or if this is just a long-shot experiment that won't pan out. But the fact remains, this is not where you want to be as a team with championship aspirations. You don't want to be relying on 37-year-old pitchers who've been out of the game for years. The Blue Jays entered this offseason looking like contenders. They made aggressive moves, they showed they were willing to spend money and take risks to improve the roster. But now, as we stand on the doorstep of spring training, they're dealing with a disaster. Injuries have decimated their pitching staff, they've lost a franchise cornerstone in Bichette, and they're scrambling to find bodies to fill out the rotation. This is not the position you want to be in when you're trying to win a championship. This is the position you end up in when everything that can go wrong does go wrong, and you're left hoping that somehow, some way, things turn around before it's too late. Somehow, some way, things turn around before it's too late.